We're back at Blender Shipyard, and what are we making today? A 19th century ship's bower anchor. Let's talk about what those look like for 1 second. This is sort of my favorite idea of what a bower anchor looks like. This has a shaft, it's got these arms, and then it's got these flukes on it. It's got this big stock, which is actually 2 pieces of wood sandwiched together around the shaft here. It's got these iron bands that are holding those pieces of wood together, and a big sort of ring here through which you would tie a very big line. Now this one actually says, I don't know where I got this, but it says Blue Nose anchor. The Blue Nose was an incredible racing schooner. It was originally a fishing schooner, but it raced. And it's gone, but the Blue Nose 2 is up in Halifax. So if you have an opportunity to get up to Halifax and go for a sail on the Blue Nose 2, you should definitely do it. Anyway, let's look at some other anchors here. You can see we have the fluke. We have this arm that's very prominent underneath here. And here you can see the stock is these 2 thick pieces of wood. It's 2 boards, essentially, that have been sandwiched together around the stock. Here's another one. It's less obvious that it's 2 pieces of wood, and maybe this is one. Don't know. But I like these bands around it. Today, we're going to be using these diagrams to build our anchor for scale, because I don't have any other good scale drawings. These were made by a guy named Ab Hoving, a scholar in the Netherlands, who specializes in the 17th century. So this is a 17th century Bowser anchor, a bower anchor. And he said Bowser, but I think it's bower. So let's open up a new Blender file here. And I want to drag in some reference. So I'm going to go into orthographic mode here, top orthographic mode, by hitting number pad 7. Always a great place to start when you're modeling, so you're always modeling on a square. So let's see, I'm going to bring in my reference here. Here it is. Let's bring it in. All right, so I know that I want this to be approximately 10 feet, an 1,800 pound anchor. It could be bigger, but let's just make it 1,800 pounds. That's usually about 10 to 12 feet of this stock from the bottom here up to the top where the ring is inserted. So it's 10 to 12 feet. Let's make it around that. I'm going to add a cube. You might already have a default cube here, which is 2 meters. So that's going to be a lot bigger than my 2-foot square object here. I am using, just so you know, I'm using imperial measurements, and I'm using feet here because that's sort of the scale of the object. So let me go to my item here, and I'm just going to make it 10 feet on the y-axis. So this is the y-axis. Green is y, red is x. So I want this to be bigger. So let's make it about here. Let's see. That looks to be a little between 10 and 12 feet, doesn't it? I think so. Okay, so let's get rid of that object. And now I want to center this. I'm going to actually bring this over and make this the center object. So let's move this over here, and I want to center this on this object. And you'll see why. It's a little finicky up front, but I know that's what I want to make. It's about the same distance from here to there, right? And it's right in the middle here. And I'm going to be using, thanks to Grant Abbott, I'm going to be using a lot of mirroring here. So let's add a cube. All right, so I want to get it to be about the size of this anchor. Now there's a slight taper shown here from this width here to here. Let's do that just for fun. We'll make that happen. So let's scale this down on all of the axes. So now it's a square. Now we looked at pictures of the anchors. They were rounded here, so that was a round shaft. This is a beveled shaft, so it's got, you know, whatever 8 sides. And we're going to make this. We could easily use a round here; it would be fine. But since we've got this model, we're going to work with this. So now I'm going to scale it on the y-axis. Let's make it full length here. Let me move this GY. And it's about correct here. And I'm going to hit X-ray mode. And now when I'm in here, I tab in and I do SX. So I'm just shrinking a little bit on the x-axis. Okay, so now because I'm in X-ray mode, I'm going to go to this mode. So this is solid shading. I generally keep all of my projects in material mode, material preview mode, but in this case it's worthwhile because, and this is an issue with Blender if you're working with reference, it's very hard to see where your model is if you have reference, because your model is either in front of the reference or it's behind it. You can't really see it, but if you're in X-ray mode, you can see it wherever it is through the reference image. So always, if you're modeling with reference images, work in this solid view and then X-ray. Okay, so I know that I want to bevel this object all the way along here. So, but I don't want it beveled up here. I want it to be square. So how do I do that? Well, I'm going to tab into it and I'm going to hit Control R, which creates a loop cut. I'm going to bring the loop cut up to between those two. And now I'm going to hit Control B to bevel this into two cuts. So now, if I bevel this edge, that will react correctly to create the scoop. But I'm not going to do that yet. So here we are. I want to create this area. So I'm going to hit Control R again. I'm going to bring it down here. And then I'm going to select these vertices here, and I'm going to extrude them to create this arm. Oh, no, that doesn't look right. That's terrible. How could that be an anchor? Well, I'll show you. So I'm going to move it here on this axis. I'm going to rotate it. And now I'm going to do S-Shift-Z. And now I can scale it down to where it's approximately the right size for that. I'm going to go back into orthographic. I tabbed out of it. So let's move these guys here. I'm going to rotate them slightly here. If you rotate and you're not in orthographic view, you're creating a bunch of headaches for yourself. Just go back, undo it and redo it. I'm going to do another loop cut here. And I'm going to move it down here. And now it's beginning to look more like the anchor shape. I'm going to rotate this by hitting R. And that looks pretty good. Let's go into edge mode and we'll look at that. And I'm going to hit bevel. So now that's looking pretty good. Let me add some more cuts, some more loop cuts by using my mouse wheel. And here I have pretty much the shape I want. It might be a little bit tall here, but I don't think that looks bad. I'm going to leave it like that. We'll deal with Abhoving later. I'm sure he'll have something to say about it. So now that we have this shape, let's bevel these edges. But we have this object now. It's not symmetrical. I've only built one side. Oh no, I've got to build the other side. Now, when I first started out modeling, I would always just model the whole thing, both sides. This is a symmetrical object, or as near as symmetrical as an object can be. So I don't need to model it here on the x-axis on this side. So if I go in here and I hit Control Alt, do rotation and scale, and then go up to my Edit tab. These are loop tools. Again, if you know, these are available in preferences. And you go to preferences and you can do curve tools and loop tools. They're in there. You activate those. They come with Blender. You don't have to download them from anywhere. So I'm just going to go into auto mirror here. And so this is the positive direction and this is the negative direction. So I'm going to mirror it on the positive direction using auto mirror. And now, hey, look at that. We have a symmetrical object. Okay, so what do I need to do here? I'm going to go into edge mode. I'm going to select this edge. I'm going to select this edge. And I'm going to shift and select that edge. I don't want to do Alt or Control because I don't want to get these guys. I don't want to bevel this and I don't want to bevel this. I want that to remain square. So here I am. Let's see if I hit bevel. Now in Abhoving's model, oh, you see, look, oh no, I did it wrong. I didn't. But this is, I'm creating the bevel here. Now it's crossed over up here. This is a mistake. I can fix that by saying clamp overlap. And now it only beveled to where it needed to bevel. And if I want to adjust this, I can, and you'll see later on what I can do with this whole edge. And but for right now, I think that's pretty good. That looks a lot like our shape. Now, I've beveled one top, but I didn't bevel the bottom here. Let's see. What do I need to do? Well, what I need to do is make this edge match this edge. So I actually need to mirror it on the z-axis now. You'll see this is x, y, and then z is like this. So let's go over to z, and z positive will be down, I believe. So let's try it. Okay, so now it is mirrored entirely. It's mirrored correctly. Okay, great. So what do I know? Well, I don't want it to be this height the entire way across. I want it to change it. So now I can only model a quarter of this. So let me go into these points, and I'm going to go into this here. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to select all of these guys. Now in this orthographic view, it's really easy to select all of those. So I'm going to rotate these, and because I'm in orthographic mode, it's only going to rotate on the y-axis. So I'm going to do this, just rotating it, and now I know that's not right. But if I now go GZ, I have the shape of what I think the anchor looks like. Now I might rotate it a little bit less. GZ. No, I think I was right the first time. So there we go. Oh, and if I tab in here, you can see this comes down to a point, and maybe this is a little thicker than it should be, but I'm going to go into 7 here into my orthographic mode, and I'm just going to move this on the y-axis so I have a point. But this anchor is pretty realistic so far. All right. Oh, and by the way, you can look at this face here. I'm going to pull in very close here by hitting the period or the decimal on the number pad. This is correct. So in this drawing, you can see this is a scoop here. We could make the scoop, but that's very easy to do, but I'm not doing it. This is very correct. You would have had it was rough hewn. This was hand cut or hand forged. Okay, so now that this shape is done. Oh wait, it's not done. Here, look. See, if I go here into top view, into my orthographic view, you can see this is not beveled. So what I want to do is I'm going to go into my edge mode here, and I'm going to select these two edges, and I'm going to hit bevel. And I can increase the level of my bevel here, so it looks pretty solid. Okay, I think that looks like an anchor. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to tab in. I've tabbed out, so I'm in object mode. And I'm now going to apply all of these modifiers. Okay, I don't really need to do anything else with this. Let's go into shaded mode. We know this is made of iron, right? So let's make a material. Really easy. I'm going to call it iron. And what is iron? Well, I think of iron as black. I think of it as being kind of shiny, but let's see if I can increase the metallic. I think either things are metallic or they're not. Somebody can give me a sort of primer on that later on. But okay, this is looking like an anchor to me so far. Now it's time to make these flukes. Now, how do you make a fluke? Well, I am going to add a cube here. And there are a number of ways I could do this, right? I could create a curve, and then or a circle, and then modify it slightly. I'm going to do it the simplest way I can imagine here. This is, I wouldn't say this is stellar modeling, but it's what I'm going to do for you. So I have my cube here. I'm going to tab out, do Control Alt Rotation and Scale. Now let's go back here. So I want to get it to this shape. Now I might, if I really thought this was a good idea, I might simply take the vertices here, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and merge them in the center so I had a triangle. I'm not going to do that because I want to preserve a little bit more geometry so I can play with it. So let's go here. I'm going to do a loop cut here, and I'm going to actually mirror this because, again, we have a symmetrical object, so I can mirror it on the x-axis. Okay, so now I'm only working with half of it. I'm going to do a loop cut here. So now this is pretty radically straightforward. I'm going to take these two. I'm going to scale them on, I'm not going to scale them on the z-axis. So I'm going to bring these together and I'm going to move them over here. Okay, so now these dudes, I'm going to bevel these. I'm not going to bevel them yet. Let's make this. Let's scale it on the z-axis. Bring it down because we know it's skinny. It's like a shovel head, right? So yeah, this could be a tutorial on making a shovel head too. So we're basically at the shape we want here, and we'll refine it in a second. But I know that this curve and this curve need to come down, and this curve and this edge rather, need to come down as well. And I would like it to be curved here, so I'm actually going to move these on the z-axis as well. So now this doesn't look really nice. It's very straightforward. But if I bevel this and I bevel this edge, well, actually, because it's here, I only have that much room because I've got clamp overlap on, right? And now I'm going to hit Control B. I'm going to bevel here. And now I have a really organic shape. You know, that's not organic enough. Let's move that GZ. And now I'm going to bevel it. So it's hard for me to see through my mic here. Okay, so I would say that's pretty good. I'm going to move this dude on the x-axis to make more of a point. We'll move both of these GX. And because it's mirroring, it's coming right in now. I might do a loop cut here, but I don't think I need to. I think that looks pretty organic. Now, this is the shape I want, right? Look at that. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to apply a subsurf modifier here. Let me just, I'm going to apply this. We'll see if there was any problems. Let's go into this. I'm going to select all, and I'm going to merge vertices by distance. Okay, so there were no errors. In a previous trial that I was making as I was preparing for this, I kept getting duplicate verts right here, and it had to do with the beveling process hitting, but we're all set. So that's applied. Let's do a subsurf modifier. Go to Generate, Subdivision Surface, and now you can see it's very rounded. It looks a lot like here. If I make this like this, you can see all of these facets on it, and that jibes with my experience of reality. But it might be a little bit squarer, and certainly Abhoven's drawing here is extremely rectilinear or linear. So, because I've added this subsurf modifier, I'm going to add a couple of cuts to increase the geometry. R, and then I'll do R here as well. And this point, I think that might be what it looked like. So let's go with that. Okay, so this object, I'm going to apply another there. I think that's very nice looking. Okay, so let's apply that. Now we have all of this geometry. It's a lot of fun. Okay, so let's put this where it should be. I'm going to move it over here, and I'm going to rotate it on the y-axis, or y90. And now I'm going to rotate it here. I'm going to put it here. Now, if I go back into this mode, you can see this is a little small. Even though it's right where it should be, it's a little small. So I'm going to scale this up. I'm going to move it there. And I think that looks pretty good. Now, obviously, it's not in the correct place. Really easy way to fix that. This is the object is centered on itself. So I know that if I put this origin point at Z0, it's going to be exactly where this object is. So let's go to 0. And there we have it. That's fabulous looking, I think. Let's make it black. We can make it the iron color. But I'm going to apply all rotation and scale. Because I know we're centered on the world origin here, because I've applied all rotation and scale, I can move the object's origin to the 3D cursor. Now, if I mirror this on the negative x, so we built this over here and mirrored it to the positive x. This is now on the positive x, so I want to mirror it on the negative. So I'm going to hit auto mirror negative, and wham, there we have. I would say this looks very much like an anchor already. All right, so let's, I'm going to actually apply that modifier, that mirror modifier, because we know we're going to use those there. Wow, that's looking like an anchor. All right, so let's make the stock next. So we're going to add a star, we're going to add a cube. We're going to put it over here because we can build this over here. I'm going to make it, I'm going to scale it down so that the thickest part is right here. I think that's about right. So I'm going to expand it on the x-axis here. That should be right. But I'm going to auto mirror this on the x-axis. So you can see when I edit this, I'm only working with half of it. Okay. So now I'm going to go back into my solid mode. And when I'm in X-ray and solid mode, I can now see my reference drawing. So I'm going to move these two vertices up here. Now I know I grabbed both vertices because nothing is left behind. So I'm going to hit, make a loop cut here, and I'm going to move this down here on the y-axis. I'm going to make it a little bit wider, and you'll see right now I'm going to bevel this. So hold on one second. Let's go to edge mode, and I'm going to apply all of these, very important. And now when I do this, you'll see I'm going to make 3 loop cuts. Now you might say, well, this is a little more rounded than that, but I don't think it's going to be important. And these 3 loop cuts are going to play a role in a minute. Remember the iron bands. I'll show you what I'm going to do with those in a second. So now I want to make sure that this is the correct. So we've got it from the correct shape this way. And now we have to make it the correct shape this way. And this is where you can see this piece of wood. It's one piece of wood and another piece of wood. So what does that look like to me? It looks like it's mirrored. So let's, first of all, let me, because I know that the center of the object is here, I'm going to take all of these vertices, all of these edges, I'll make them vertices, and I'm going to move them on the z-axis. So they're above the object origin point. That allows me to then hit mirror, and I will have 2 separate pieces on the top and the bottom. So, okay, I'm going to tab out, and I'm going to hit auto mirror Z positive, because for Z positive is going down. Don't know why. Okay, so now I have 2 pieces, top and bottom. That shape, he has just an apex here. That's not my experience of these anchors, and I'm just going to pull up the blue nose anchor again. That might be a point, a ridge in the center. I'm going to make it a little bit more of a beveled space there. So let me just, I'm going to go here to my side view, and I'm going to rotate this, and I'm going to move it to Z. I'm going to rotate it maybe a little bit more. So there we have this shape now in this side view. I really like this, and I'm going to bring these to Z. These are almost touching, but they needn't be touching. And I'm going to bring this one GZ as well. Now I have use clip here. Clip will be if I join these, if I join these edges, if I bring them actually together, they'll merge and I won't be able to separate them. So I'm being careful to keep them separate for as long as I want if I'm trying to keep them separate. And I do want to keep them separate. So let's just see here. I'm going to take these three. We're going to zoom in really close and I'm going to go to GZ. Yeah, I don't think anybody's going to argue that that's two pieces of wood. Okay, so now I'm going to apply my X modifier, and I'll show you why. Because when I'm putting materials on this thing, I don't want the book matched on the X-axis. So let's go in here. I'm going to go to our material preview mode, and I'm going to hit mirror. I'm going to apply that X thing. Now I'm going to keep the Z for the, actually I could apply the Z as well. No, I won't do that because I don't want to have to UV unwrap both sides. Let me go into the UV editing tab. It's really easy to see. So here's what's weird. Well, remember, we basically moved the origin, all of the vertices above the origin point. So we created this dissociated object. So now I'm going to go here and I'm going to do Smart UV Project, and you'll see it should create a bunch of lines here. So this is approximately what you want, right? I'm going to make it a little bigger. And then we're going to go, let me go to Materials. Let's go back here to Layout. And I want to create a material for this. So if you grab the corner of the screen, you see that little plus, you can create another screen. So it's a shader editor. Now I'm going to hit New. And you'll see both of these are highlighted. You want to just click out and then click the principled BSDF tab, this shader here. And if you have both of them clicked, what I'm about to do won't work. So I'm going to hit Control-Shift-T. If you have Node Wrangler enabled, I'm going to recommend that you do. If you have Node Wrangler enabled, it comes bundled with Blender. You can hit Control-Shift-T and you can get an entire material. So I just selected these three images in a principled, and it creates a principled texture set with mapping coordinates and the three textures, and it creates the bump nodes, so you're actually getting the effect of it. Now, this looks pretty good to me, actually. So that looks like wood to me. Okay, so great. I don't have to do anything. The UV editor came up with a good size. It scaled it well, I think. Maybe, no, let's go with that. Okay, so there's our stock. Now, one of the things about the stock here, and now that I've got these two sides, I'm gonna finish this. I'm gonna apply this. So one of the reasons why I'm applying these modifiers is because when you don't apply them, and you then merge a model at the end, say you want to create one FBX file for use in Unreal or just move it around without having to group it. You can't join, if you join something with modifiers, either the modifier disappears or the modifier is applied to all of the objects in the join. So don't do that. Just apply your modifiers as you go along. If you want to reapply them, you can knock yourself out. Okay. So now I told you about these three loop cuts and what I wanted to do with them. So we're going to go, I'm going to select edges here. And I'm going to select this edge, this edge, this edge. And so I actually don't need the interior ones. So I'm going to hit Control and select to deselect. Oh, come on. Hold on. I'll just do it this way. You know, when you're doing a tutorial, it's never what you're expecting. Okay, so these edges in here, I want to create those iron bands, and I like the three that were on the Blue Nose model, Blue Nose picture. There's 1, 2, 3. Now mine are slightly not in exactly the correct space, but they're evenly spaced, which I think could stand for something. So I'm going to hit Shift D, which duplicates them. Then I'm going to left-click my mouse, and then hit P for separate. And then I'm separating the selection. So now I'm going to tab out, and you can now see I actually have these three edges, these three edge pieces here. I'm going to mirror them on the Z axis. So I now have mirrored them, and I'm going to apply the mirror. And you'll see what's going on in a second. So if I go into my things, I'm going to just dissolve these vertices. Let's see. Oh, I have two vertices because I have two separate edges here. Okay, so I'm going to do something here. Now I want to merge these two. So I'm going to go to merge vertices at center. And then I have a repeat command of Shift R set up. So I'm just going to do Shift R, Shift R, Shift R, and Shift R. And now that those are all there, I can select all of them because they're joined, and I can dissolve them. So I just have squares. Hey, look at that. Okay, so now I have these squares. What good did they do me? Well, I could do something where I extruded them on the x-axis, and then that would work, I guess. But I don't have that much control, and I'm a control freak, right? So what I'm going to do is, instead of working with these as meshes, I'm actually going to go in here and convert them to a curve. So now these are curves. They don't look different, but they're curves. And what I can do, and I know they're a curve because this little object here is no longer a mesh symbol, it's a curve symbol. So I'm going to go into geometry, and I'm going to bevel, and I'm going to go with profile, and you'll see the profile is straight here, and this makes a diamond shape, and we'll rotate it and fix it. And there are 4 cuts in here to give me a profile, but I don't want any of those. I only want an endpoint, 2 endpoints, so I have a straight line. So now I'm going to increase the depth of this. Oh, look at that. Wow. Hey, it's pretty good. So those look pretty good. I'm going to tab into them, and I have all my vertices selected, and I can rotate. And if I type 45 here, you can see it's now square, right? So I've rotated. If you rotate a square, a diamond 45 degrees, you get a square. And that's what I am. So anyway, now I actually might want to tilt them a little bit back so that they match. Oh, look, they're all in different cants. So let's leave it at 40. Here, we can do this. We'll do it one by one. This is so much fun. Okay, let's tab out. I'm going to go here. I'm going to tab in. And let's see. I want to make this correct. So let's rotate it that way. And I can actually reduce this. And I'm gonna, you'll see what I'm doing. I like that width here, but I want to make it wider. But we can do that when when we go into another mode. Here, I'm going to rotate these dudes so they are aligned with the shape of the wood as I perceive it. And this one's pretty good. I don't think I need to alter. Well, maybe it's a little much. Now let me go into, yeah, I think that's right. Okay, great. So now here's something that, I want to get across, and it's something that a lot of modelers are afraid of doing, or especially beginners are afraid. So these were meshes, these edges. Then I turned them into curves. And now I'm going to turn them back into meshes for a specific purpose. So I'm going to tab out. I'm going to go to Object, and I'm going to convert back to mesh. Maybe it's more steps than I need. I don't know. You guys can tell me. But now, they're on joined pivot point here. This is the medium point. So if I now do SX, they get bigger or smaller on that side. That's not what I want. So I want them to get wider on their individual origins. Tab in, I can do, and then SX. Hey, all right. So I think that looks like those iron bands around the stock, right? Okay, so let's just apply that material. And by the way, if any of these bevels are off, if that's not correct anymore, and it looks like it's not great, here, well, you can just fix it. I'm going to select this, and I'm going to move it slightly this way, and I'm going to go to 2 mode, and let's see, is that 2 square? I'm going to move this to Z. I'm going to do this, GZ. Right? So, you know, you can always go in and fix it afterwards if the general function doesn't work. Okay, so now I know that these have an origin point. Their origin point is over here because I took them off of this object. So I can now mirror them. I'm going to hit Control A, rotation and scale, and then I'm going to go and edit, and I go to auto mirror, and I want to auto mirror them on the X, but I want them to go negative. So you got to keep track of that auto mirror, negative, positive, which way you're going. It's really useful to remember, and it can take a while to get the hang of it. Now, if you guys wanted to put the bolts on, I didn't see them on this blue nose anchor, so I'm not going to put them in, even though they're on Abhovin's drawing. And if this was a 16th century bower anchor, 100% put on bolts, knock yourself out. But I can now join these. Because, do I have any, no, I still have this modifier applied. So let's go in here and I'm going to apply this modifier, and now I'm going to join them. Okay, so now I have my stock. I'm going to go into orthographic mode. I'm going to move this on the x-axis until it's centered. We're going to make it centered on the x-axis. So I can go to X and I hit 0. And I'm going to hit RY 90. This is a little wider, I think, than it is tall from this drawing. If I move this over here, you can see the geometry is correct. I'm going to move this back to 0, but I might make it a little bit wider. So I'm going to do SX, and the whole thing is now wider. Okay, right. I think that looks pretty good. We now have our anchors really coming together here. Look at this. Okay. So now, going to top mode, we need to make the ring really easy. Some people might choose to add a torus. I find it really hard to manage the torus math because it asks you how many sections you want and how thick you want the diameter of each section. I can't do that work really well, you know, and, you know, Andrew Price understands it. He's the best, but I just add a curved circle. Now I'm going to bring that over here. I want it to be about, oh, it's like exactly the right size. Maybe make it a little bit bigger. Okay, so now this is a curve, really easy. I have a round bevel over here. Now I'm going to add this circle. I'm going to add this circle here, and I'm going to move it up here. I'm in orthographic mode. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger, scale it up so that it's going to be about the diameter around. I'm going to get out of your way here so you can see what I do next. So I'm going to bevel this curve. I'm going to go to my data tab here, and if this was a mesh, you'll see a mesh looks like that. A curve looks like a curve. So shape, you don't want to mess with that. Texture space, you don't want geometry. You might hit this, but that's not the thing to hit. You go to bevel, round, and now I'm just going to scale up the round here, scale this until it's about that size. I would say that's 100% correct, right? All right, so now I'm going to go into my materials. I'm going to make it iron. I'm going to move this on the x-axis over to here. I'm going to put it on 0 on the x-axis, and then I'm going to rotate it on the y-axis 90 degrees. Okay, so now there's the anchor. It is 100% done as far as I'm concerned. So I'm going to join these all. Oh wait, here's a trick, problem. I want to join all of these, but you'll see I've just clicked everything, and I'm going to hit Control J. Oh, it couldn't do it. Why couldn't it do it? Well, this is a Bezier circle. So this is a curve. It's not a mesh. So I need to convert this to a mesh. So now it's a mesh, and I don't have any modifiers applied here. They're all applied, rather. And now I have one object. So I'm going to rotate this on the x-axis, and there, let's hide the diagram, is our anchor. Here, let me pull it up here. So that's as realistic an anchor as I think you're going to get. right? Hey, it's not even that much geometry. It's just, but it is accurate. Obviously, this is not a good iron material, and I could amend that and do some UV unwrapping. But this is what they wrote. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that tutorial, and will make your own anchors. If anybody's interested in getting these models that I'm building here, I'm happy to share them with you. I might do a Patreon page where you can download it. I might do something else, but let me know in the comments. Thanks so much. I hope you guys have a great day.